Here we go. So next up is the endless hypocrisies of Pokimane. Did she deserve the cancellation? Chat, I don't know. You tell me. Apparently people were really shitting on her big time now. Let's see why.
Fortunately, we live in such a self-centered capitalistic society, and it sucks because it
Oh, she said the C word. She done said capitalism. That's the reason why people were pissed off. All right, let's go.
to prioritize work and money above all else, even friendships, even being there for other people. And then again, it creates a culture where people are like, oh, I don't want to bother them. They're probably busy.
This is Pokimane, one of the biggest streamers in the world. If you somehow don't know her, she's a Twitch and YouTube powerhouse who's been around for almost as long as live streaming itself, with an estimated net worth north of $6 million.
And she apparently said that was low, from my understanding. I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, I can see why people did not like that comment.
What we're about to look at isn't some random clip taken out of context or a single bad take that went viral. This is a pattern that's been playing out for years, a long trail of contradictions between the image she presents publicly and the reality behind the scenes. When you zoom out, it starts to say less about one streamer and more about something much bigger: how massive influencer wealth quietly reshapes behavior, incentives, and authenticity, even for creators who built their brand on being relatable.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't. They rely on this relatability. That's just it doesn't exist. Like at one point, yes, they were very relatable. And they seem, or people feel like they can, of course, yeah. I mean, just relatability as a whole. People feel like they can connect with somebody because they're just like me. And no, at a certain point, they're not just like you at all.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be covering the endless hypocrisies of Pokimane. To understand why people bought into Pokimane so hard, you have to rewind to the beginning. Long before brand deals, headlines, and leaked earnings spreadsheets, she built herself as the definition of approachable, the down-to-earth gamer girl.
Yeah, she was just girl next door.
In a space that, at the time, really wasn't. Early Twitch was a very different ecosystem. The platform was dominated by hardcore gaming communities, StarCraft streams, esports grinders, and personalities that leaned heavily into niche internet culture. There were far fewer women streaming back then, and even fewer who were able to break through into the mainstream.
That is very true.
Pokimane showed up, playing games casually, chatting with viewers, and presenting herself as friendly and relatable, it stood out immediately. For a lot of people, she felt accessible in a way most streamers didn't.
Oh, are you okay?
I'm sick right now.
God bless.
God bless.
Wow, thank you.
Now, let's be honest, a huge portion of that audience, both now and then, was absolutely parasocial. Some viewers were clearly projecting fantasies onto her and reading way more into the interaction.
That's gonna happen with most female streamers. Not to play the sex card here, but that does happen. It does happen with male streamers as well. There's this weird parasocial interaction that does occur, but it's to a much larger scale with female streamers. And that's not to disparage like the work that they put into it. It's not to it's not to diminish any of the grind that they put into it at all. It's just that's part of it. Not all of it, but it is part of it. So if there's this shit can get extremely toxic really, really quick. And not only that, but we've also seen horrible atrocities and crimes that have occurred because of parasocial interactions.
Then was healthy, but that part almost doesn't matter. What mattered was the image being presented. The persona was someone humble, grateful, and grounded. Someone who just happened to be blowing up online. Pokimane leaned into that image consistently. Over time, she also adopted progressive politics and anti-corporate messaging that resonated strongly with—
That was your first fucking mistake. That was your first mistake. If you're not planning on leaning hard into it at some point and you're just shouting out shit just to shout it out, then your community is always going to hold you to those standards. Straight up, they're always going to hold you into those standards. And if you lean in, or if you don't lean into that and your community's holding up to your standard or holding you to that standard, then now that community has essentially become your boss. Now you're reporting to them and you do as they say, and if you don't, then yeah, so on and so forth. With me, if this stuff ever blows up and I start making a lot of money off of it, I'm probably going to lean into it. Why? Because I'm no longer relatable, and I need to understand that to be able to check my own self, and to also not be held captive by people that expect me to be anything less.
With her younger audience, she talked about fairness, ethics, and responsibility in the influencer space. And to be fair, this wasn't an act that suddenly appeared later. Even early on, she framed herself as socially conscious and values-driven. In that sense, her views haven't really shifted. What changed was her position. One of the biggest trust-building elements from that era was how she reacted to money. Old streams show her visibly shocked when someone donated a large amount. She would double-check, ask if they were serious, and sometimes even tell people that they didn't need to do that.
What the fuck?
Hey guys, hope you had a good New Year's, and I hope 2017 will be a great year. Glad to be a
Yeah, and what happens in this situation is people become desensitized to that type of stimulus. So they see that type of stimulus and it's just a shock. Now they receive that same type of stimulus, 70 times over, or 90 times over, or 1,000 times over, and they have now become desensitized, and now their reactions aren't as vast or as crazy. And it shouldn't be something that people hold someone accountable to. Their reactions. They shouldn't police their reactions, of course. However, it is something that's just naturally going to happen. So people should have that expectation going into it, and they should know when to start to tailor their reactions. Somebody that does this really good is the Roach Man. Asmongold does this extremely well. He is desensitized to it. However, the position that he carries whenever he does receive a big donation is he is completely transparent with it. He said, your donations are, and he comes from a place that's still a place of humility to a degree, to where he sees it, he reacts, and he says, yo, I don't need this. Your donation is appreciated, but it's not needed. And then he'll tell his audience, he'll tell them straight up, be like, you're probably going to do more with your money by taking your girlfriend, your wife out, your mom out to a nice steak dinner. I'm just gonna spend it on fucking Taco Bell, like straight up. So it's still from this different point of view versus, he at some point understood that these things would happen, and he understood and made a plan of action on how to address those situations as they popped up. So I'm assuming with this part of the video, Pokimane probably didn't do that at some point.
part of the Poke Squad.
Didn't take that into account.
Oh my god! What the heck?
Again, yes, a lot of those donors were likely emotionally attached viewers. That dynamic existed, but her reaction still came across as genuine. It looked like someone who wasn't used to that level of wealth and didn't take—
And guys, if you're donating to any streamer and their reaction had turned from a grateful place of humility to expectation and what's required, just back off. Maybe, I don't fucking know. I'm not your dad. I'm not gonna tell you what to fucking do. You can call me Unc, but I'm not your daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you might should pull it back a bit. Is what it is. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But that's just a suggestion.
it for granted. Then there's the moment from December 2019 that really sums everything up. She's browsing Louis Vuitton, reacting live when a viewer drops a $2,020 donation. At the time, people found it funny and endearing. The optics were perfect. A streamer shocked by a big donation while casually looking at luxury items. It felt ironic in a harmless way.
Oh, this is so cool that it moves. Their website is really good, I won't lie.
Because it's almost 2020.
You said it for me, dude. Oh, I got a little bit of a oopsie. I got a little bit of a tear. Jeez Louise, what?
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
crazy.
a lot of money. Are you sure you want to give that much money?
Looking back, it hits differently. By that point, her financial reality was already far removed from the image. She had openly turned down a single sponsorship deal worth around $3 million, which quietly told everyone that money was no longer something she had to chase.
No.
Later on, the Twitch leak confirmed that she made around $1.5 million from Twitch alone between 2019 and 2021. That number didn't include donations, sponsorships, YouTube revenue, or business ventures, just
Damn, that's
platform payouts.
crazy.
By any reasonable
That's fucking
standard,
nuts.
she was already deep into the top tier of internet wealth, and yet the persona barely shifted. The same wide-eyed reactions, the same framing herself as an average creator navigating success in real time, the same down-to-earth presentation that originally earned trust years earlier. That growing distance between perception and reality is the key point. Even back then, the money was flowing fast, while the image stayed frozen in a much earlier version of her career.
Yeah. So it seems like what we're seeing here is like there was no active contingency plan for when this transition was taking place. So she's just like, I'm just gonna milk it for as much as I can. That's the image that it portrays. Not to say that she actually did that, but it seems like we are milking it at that certain point. Like at a certain point, yes, you have to have a contingency plan on when do you kind of lift that facade, because it does make you more trustworthy. It does make you more, it makes you less relatable, but it makes you more trustworthy and more authentic. One thing that the internet fucking hates more than anything else is inauthenticity. They absolutely despise anything that is inauthentic, and they will absolutely let you know. So yeah, with this whole situation, it just seems like she was narrow-minded on this approach works, so I'm just going to continue with this approach, instead of saying, okay, this is where things have changed, I need to create a contingency plan on how to maintain my image in some sort of positive light. Like, she wasn't really thinking ahead. She was just kind of doing whatever works, and I can't really fault somebody for that, but I can understand why the internet does not fucking like it for it.
And that gap is where every controversy that comes later really lives.
Yeah,
in
I
May
can
of
see that.
2021, a tweet from Pokimane's alt account slipped through the cracks and ended up saying a lot more than it probably meant to. The tweet read, "Capitalism rewards psychotic behavior." This was coming from Pokimane.
Why would you do that? Why would you talk shit about a system that has rewarded you over and over again? Yeah, that seems completely fucking brain dead to say. That makes, why?
Someone whose entire rise is a case study in consumer capitalism working perfectly. She didn't stumble into wealth by accident. Her career was built on subscriptions, donations, sponsorships, ad revenue, brand partnerships, and platform algorithms designed to maximize profit. The same system she criticized is the reason she became a multi-millionaire in the first place, which made the tweet feel deeply disconnected from reality.
Absolutely
that
disconnected.
became even harder to ignore after interviews surfaced where she openly admitted, or at least jokingly alluded to, spending up to $100,000 a year on Starbucks and Uber Eats alone.
I'm kind of crazy to you, but for me, like, there really isn't a massive difference between like even like 200K and 300K. Because at the end of the month, like you have enough to splurge on yourself when you want to. You have enough to pay
for Starbucks. Yeah.
Dude,
That's crazy. Oh yeah, I can see why people. I can see why people fucking did not like that. It's shit talking a system that has gave you an overwhelming amount of an advantage over everybody else. Like, dude, you don't do that, man. The internet will eat you alive. That's 200. Roush says that's 273 a day on Starbucks. That's pretty crazy, man. That Uber Eats, $273 a day. Yeah. No, you won't find me. Nope. And if I ever make money that facilitates that type of spending, y'all going to know about it. Y'all going to know about that shit. That's crazy.
So,
That detail stuck with people because it highlighted just how far removed her lifestyle was from the average viewer she was supposedly speaking alongside. Criticizing capitalism hits differently when you are benefiting from its conveniences
Yes.
at an extreme level. The
Yes.
public reaction was predictable. People started pointing out that she is functionally a walking advertisement. Her streams promote platforms, products, and brands by default. Even her existence online generates value for corporations. Her wealth is not abstract. It comes directly from millions of viewers across the globe consuming her content, engaging with her image, and buying into the ecosystem surrounding her. I understand you can critique something you've benefited from, but you're practically the corporate favorite to place ads on, along with other family-friendly streamers, or use to push merchandise. So you're not just benefiting, you're in bed with it.
I bet you that she would not have had this much backlash if she came out and was just like, guys, yo dogs, I fucking love capitalism. She probably would not nearly have had as much backlash on this. But the fact that she's speaking out against it just signals that one or two things. We're trying to convey ourselves in a virtuous light, or that we're trying to maintain that relatable image whenever we haven't had that relatable image in a very long time.
Funny you say that, after you have been using capitalism to your advantage, ever since you started streaming, and making millions of dollars a year from sponsors, and different brands, and your merch, and YouTube videos, and all the subs and donations you get. But whatever. Despite this, Pokimane would try refuting the claims that she spent $100K a year on Uber Eats and Starbucks. Replying to a now deleted tweet from Scarce, she said, "I definitely don't spend anywhere near $100K a year on Starbucks, nor do I earn $80K per stream, nor do I own a mansion or any property. News is really slow, but there's a lot of clickbait headlines, and I really don't appreciate you spreading misinformation like this." At the time though, the situation was easy to brush off. Another tweet, another discourse cycle. She clarified, people argued, and the internet moved on. No lasting damage and no serious consequence. But looking back, this moment quietly laid the groundwork for everything that followed. It established a familiar rhythm. Say something that signals progressive awareness, get praised by fans who already agree, get called out by critics who point out the hypocrisy, let the conversation burn itself out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not. Let's look at gains versus let's look at things that are net negatives versus things that are progressive gains. Doing that is not giving you any type of gain. It is always, there's going to be a net negative to where it diminishes. Like, say that your reputation's right here. Doing something like that might bring your reputation down to here. Everything kind of levels off, and you're just kind of slowly inching it down this ladder. Every time you take a little ding, it's a little tiny ding. It's like fat loss. You'll lose, this much fat if you go into a caloric deficit over an entire year, 2 years. That adds up a lot. So we're seeing these small little dings in reputation that has scaled because it's just been, can't stop talking about the social things and just fucking leave it alone.
And repeat. Whether intentional or not, this pattern keeps attention on her without requiring content to fundamentally change. And that's where things get interesting. If you actually watch her streams, there isn't much spectacle. A lot of it is just casual chatting, reacting to videos, eating food, or filling time with her audience. The core appeal isn't innovation or production.
I don't give a shit about this. You do whatever you want to, homie. If that's what you want to do to make you money, I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Why do I care? I don't care. This doesn't mean anything. If that's the content that you provide, that's the content you provide. Who cares?
Value. It's the persona, the friendly, relatable gamer girl that viewers feel connected to. Moments like the
Look at me, I'm eating a cup of burrito bowl just like all of you guys.
Capitalism tweet add spice to that formula. They reinforce the idea that she's thoughtful, grounded, and on the side of everyday people, even when the reality doesn't line up. And
what would have been based? What would have been based is if that tweet said capitalism rewards psychotic behavior and I'm a fucking psychopath. Dude, people would have ate that shit up, man. Because it's just like, people would have seen that and been like, bro, fucking W, Bay State. Because they see that and they're like, oh, that's authentic, bro. We know you make a lot. Like, we know.
While she may be the last person who needs to denounce capitalism, saying it anyway helps preserve the illusion that she's still just one of them. By November 2023, the gap between Pokimane's image and reality finally stopped being subtle. That's when she launched Minor Cookies, a snack brand that was
I remember
to be the
this
next
shit.
evolution of her ethical thought.
I'm surprised she was able to bring it back after this. She was able to bring back her reputation after this this stupid shit happened and occurred. She brought it back and she's still doing damage to it. So just not really knowing when to pick and choose your battles. And it doesn't seem like she was very wise as to when to pick and choose.
Thoughtful creator persona. On paper, it sounded harmless. A streamer launches cookies. Influencers do this kind of thing all the time. The problem was everything that came with it. The pricing alone raised eyebrows immediately. Minor Cookies were sold at $28 for a 4-pack. Each bag was about 4 ounces.
Excuse me? A 4-pack? Dude, that makes... Oh my God, that's crazy. A 4-pack. Oh wait, bag. So it comes with a 4-pack. So there's bags that come with the cookies. I still $28 for some cookies sounds like too much. Just sounds like too much for the average Joe like me and you. Roush, do you want to pay $28 for some cookies? Depends on the cookies. If I'm paying $28 for Girl Scout cookies, that's a good fucking deal because that's a lot of cookies.
Which works out to be roughly $7 per bag. That already felt steep for cookies, but things escalated quickly once people started
Not unless it comes with ice cream, that's fair.
digging deeper. Internet users discovered that the cookies were nearly identical to Tootsie Midnight Mini Cookies, a product that had previously been sold at Costco for $9.99 per 14-ounce bag. When you break that
that's not good. Ooh, yeah, people ain't gonna like that. And not only this, but creator products, things that content creators sells or content creators sell, it's cool if it is unique to them and it is something that they are kind of known for. For example, Oompaville is another content creator that I watch, and his passion was making candy. He really thought candy was cool and he got into it, understood the ins and outs of it. And his candy is great. You actually had, that's fucking awesome. That was his thing. He wanted to learn how to make candy and he fucking did it. And he created his own production line. And that is a content creator product to where he actually has skin in the game and he understands the ins and outs of the business. This was something that was just relabeled and brought to her. Yeah, Oompaville is fucking awesome. I love some Oompaville as well. I gotta react to some of his content sometime. Good old Southern boy. We love a Southern boy around here. So he had skin in the game. He had a substantial amount of skin in the game. So whenever people purchase this product and he offers, this product to the public, then it's like, oh, well, this is a passion project, blah, blah, blah. This seems like some corporate faceless type of bullshit. It does seem like a cash grab. And so people are going to be much more analytical and less forgiving whenever we just rebrand some shit out and we just throw it out just for the sake of making money. People like Oompa, is this candy perfect? Apparently it's pretty fucking good, but is it perfect? Probably not. But are people much more willing to forgive the price that he's listed it for? Are people much more likely to forgive quality errors? Absolutely, because it shows like, oh, this is a craft and he has actually put skin into the game. Whenever you just release something like this that's faceless, yeah, dude, people are not going to be nearly as forgiving for shit like this at all. They're going to see this and it's going to immediately be put under a microscope and people will tear it apart 1,000%. Absolutely.
Down, the difference is hard to ignore. Minor Cookies were effective.
And apparently it's a great deal. I'm being told right now it's $5 a bag, and if you if you get 3, it's free shipping. That's great for the price. Okay, it's just way better, a better product because Oompa just knows what he's fucking doing. This was just, it was not a good decision. It was a brain dead decision. Ad for Oompaville's candy. Who gets some now?
Effectively a rebranded version
Sour not GG. Just kidding, not an ad.
of an existing product sold at dramatically higher prices. The markup landed somewhere around 247%. The only meaningful change was the addition of vitamin D3 and new packaging. That was it. Same base ingredients, same concept, but vastly different cost. This is where the controversy could have stayed focused on pricing and transparency. Instead, it blew up because of how Pokimane responded. At first, she would respond to people saying it was just a rebrand.
It looks like just a fucking rebrand because you don't have skin in the game. This looks like an exact rebrand. It has Pokimane's likeness or attached to it, and that's what you're selling, not the product itself. You have no understanding on how the product's probably even made. You probably haven't even visited a factory that the product was made in.
Currently shipping were made 3 weeks ago. The cookies they are being compared to were also made by our manufacturer, Creation Foods, which specializes in healthy food. The compared cookies had 1 test batch sold before they were retired. Months later, we partnered with Creation Foods and fell in love with the flavor profile of the Midnight Cookie. We then decided to work together to refine and improve the formula, and we're really happy with the final product. When fans started questioning why the cookies were so expensive, she didn't explain sourcing costs or defend quality. She mocked them. She referred to critics as broke boys and idiots, openly laughing at the idea that people might find her product
I don't know how the fuck she bounced back her reputation from this. I have no clue, because typically this is self-unaliving in the internet space.
Affordable.
It's 4 bags. That's $7 a bag. I know math is hard. Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so. Anyway.
That moment changed everything. This was a multi-millionaire publicly ridiculing her own audience, many of whom are young and working class, for not being able to afford influencer cookies.
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
same audience that helped fund her lifestyle through subscriptions, donations, and views. The optics were impossible to defend. The marketing around the product only made it worse. Pokimane claimed she had spent 2 years perfecting the recipe. That statement became hard to take seriously once the ingredient lists were compared side to side. The similarities were overwhelming to say the least. What was framed as a carefully crafted passion project looked far more like a licensing deal with a fresh coat of influencer branding. Then
oh my god, it's 1 for 1, isn't it? Yeah, there's no deviation. The vitamin D, yeah, that's it. Calcium, iron, potassium. It's all the same. The only thing that's different, and it's micrograms. It's not even milligrams. That's funny.
Shipping. Customers had to spend at least $56 just to qualify for free shipping. That meant buying multiple packs of cookies at already inflated prices just to avoid additional fees. For many fans, the entire experience felt engineered to extract as much money as possible while pretending to be creator friendly.
I take a supplement, so fuck them cookies.
And community focused.
That markup's
After the backlash
crazy.
grew too loud to ignore, Pokimane issued an apology. On the surface, it checked the usual boxes. She said she worded things poorly, she expressed regret, and she acknowledged that she could have handled it better. While what I said was 100% intended to be a joke, I see why it came off as insensitive, and I apologize for that. I also understand the current price of the cookies may be expensive for some, and promise we'll continue to consider pricing to keep mine as affordable as possible. I also want to clarify that this was said towards one rude chatter. I did not at all intend for it to be a general statement or towards my community.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can totally see somebody shitting on her in chat, and then she just decided to kind of clap back. Unfortunately, moments like that get clipped. Now, what we need to pay attention to is the trend. Does she have a habit of doing this type of shit, or does she not? Does she lean into it? Is she always talking shit? Because typically if she's always talking shit, especially whenever it comes to like money or spending or anything like that, then chances are that's how she actually feels, especially if she's constantly doing it. So right now, like, this was a good apology. This was a perfectly fine apology. Makes sense. Okay, we could just dismiss it. But if it happens again and we start to see more of these points on a graph, then where is the graph trending? What are we seeing as far as behavior itself goes?
Sincerity of that apology didn't last very long.
Oh, never mind.
Not long after, during a Black Friday sale, she joked on stream about how the sale was not for broke boys. The same language, the same dismissive tone.
Okay, then yeah, you're just your internet brain, you don't realize that people can go back a few days and just kind of see you doing this already again. Okay, well, never mind. You know, it was a good apology. If she would have kept up that same, she would have kept that inertia going, you know.
The illusion that the apology represented real reflection disappeared instantly. It became clear that the apology was about damage control, not accountability.
How are the cookies going? Good. I don't know if you guys saw, but we're doing a promotion today.
You know what? She would probably frame it or spin it as like, I was doing the joke again. Somebody said, don't believe apologies, believe change behavior. Change behavior actually shows that somebody actually believes in their apology. So she immediately is just like, I'm making the same thing. You don't really care.
It is not a broke boys Black Friday sale. Okay.
Yeah.
It is, if you buy a pack of 8 or 12, you get a free hat. It's a really cute hat. I have one. But yeah, in case anyone was interested.
She really loves calling people broke. Honestly, without her chat or any...
Kidding or not, probably not a good idea to do. Kidding or not, probably not good for you. Not good for you. Not good for your image or your brand, especially if that's what your brand image is. You know, this is like inclusivity and all this other shit.
One, she would be broke and struggling. She would not be where she is now if it wasn't for her chat. She's honestly a bad person. I don't care what anyone says. There's one last detail that really ties this.
Yeah, honestly, a bad person. I think we're all bad people. To some level, some degree. We're all bad. Not one is righteous. Not one. So to say that she's a bad person implies that I'm a good person. I don't fucking believe in that. I think we're all shitty. I can say, you know what? She'd probably do the same shit that I would do. Yeah, I feel like that's fair to say. I don't know. That's just my take on life itself. I try not to believe that I'm better than anybody else because I think we're all just as depraved and fucked up human beings. Yeah.
This whole thing together, and it's where Minor Cookies is today, which is nowhere.
I would like to believe that I would be a little bit more transparent. That's my belief. Not that I'm better than, or I handled it better, or that I am a more virtuous person. It's just I would like to be a little bit more transparent. That's it.
Website leads to a 404 error, and apparently it's been permanently shut down. No announcement, no explanation, no follow-up stream, no tweet thanking supporters or addressing what went wrong. At some point,
Banhammer just fucking hit it. Just fucking hit it. And another thing I've always kind of looked at growing up is like, I will trust somebody way more depending on how they answer this question. And that is, I can ask him, how do I know I can trust you? And a lot of people will hear that and then they'll start to give you justifications, calculated justifications. But the people that I've always trusted more, whenever I say, how can I trust you? And then they just straight up tell me, you can't. You just can't. All right, cool, man. Already passed part of the test there. That's a good statement. All right, cool. Automatically trust people a little bit more just based off of that interaction instead of these calculated. Well, I've done this and I've done this, and the person that just tells me like, you can't trust me. Can't trust anybody. Fair. Based.
Backlash, Minor Cookies just stopped existing. The website
Truth,
went
actions
down,
over time speak
social
louder than
media
words.
went
Absolutely,
silent.
man.
The product vanished as if it was never supposed to be there in the first place. But this divide between creators and their audience isn't just...
Oh my god, internet anarchist. We're not supposed to see your fucking face. What are you doing? Oh my god, stop. Put it back. I'm just kidding. He's got a chiseled, I said jizzled. He's got a chiseled jawline.
A streaming
Holy
problem.
shit, I can't speak.
It's a business problem. The bigger you get, the harder it is to keep everything running smoothly.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Where today's sponsor comes in. Big thanks to Odoo for sponsor. Invoicing, accounting, project management.
Jump ahead, I fucking love premium.
Today.
God, I love premium
that
for
was
that.
supposedly 2 years in the making, the silence is incredibly loud. This wasn't framed as an experiment or a limited run. It was marketed as a serious business venture, one that fans were encouraged to support at premium prices. By April 2025,
My passion project, what seems to be the case is that they were emailing her back and forth and then send her over samples, be like, which one of these would you like the brand and push the product? Which one of these? And she's like, this one's interesting. then they probably give her a curated answer, essentially, of like, oh, this one has notes of blah blah blah, and the flavor profile is just exquisite. Like, we fucking talk about that. You know what? You ever see me on a cookie rebranding? I'm like, this motherfucker shit just good. Coffee dropping soon? Coffee? This? Coffee dropping? I mean, oh yeah, should I brand out some coffee? Hell yeah, I'd be like, this shit good as fuck, brother. I ain't gonna talk about the notes. I'd be like, you know what? It gets you caffeinated, bitch. That'll probably be my product spin on it. It's just that. It's just gonna get you caffeinated. I'm like, it has notes of berries. How the fuck? I don't fucking talk like that. I don't talk like that. This shit is flat as earth, motherfucker. It gets the job done. I can have an alcohol, like an alcoholic or an alcohol brand, and it's just like, this shit gets you fucking drunk. Pulling back the Dave Chappelle shit.
The contrast had become almost impossible to ignore. Pokimane was in Paris, and this time she wasn't hiding anything. She posted her own footage, TikToks, stream clips, casual vlogs. The kind of content that's meant to feel fun and aspirational, but ends up telling a much bigger story.
Just lean into it, man. There's no shame. I don't understand why we get, like, why do we get into this mind bubble to where we can't just lean into the shit? Like, just fucking lean into it at that point. Who cares? Like, you've made it. Like, you're doing awesome. Lean into it and show people, like, dude, this is because of you guys. I can do shit like this. That's a more grateful take in position to be in, not this. I'm not rich, and here you are in like Paris eating fucking whatever the fuck this bullshit is on your plate. I don't know.
If you just let it play out. The clips show her bouncing between luxury stores like Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Chanel. And not just browsing either. She's discussing Lady Dior bags, weighing color options, sitting in quiet lounges, while staff bring things out like it's routine.
Yeah, I'll totally do that on
a special
every
occasion
weekend.
to splurge. It was just another trip. And then mid-trip, she goes live and starts talking about wealth disparity. On stream, Pokimane starts ranting about how bad wealth inequality is getting. She talks about how people hate the rich, how the gap keeps widening, how frustrating it all feels. It's the kind of speech you've heard 1,000 times online, but this time it's happening while she's actively documenting luxury shopping sprees in Paris.
Yeah, people
then
don't like
her
that.
friend Jason chimes in
like that.
and points out the obvious. He reminds her that she's rich too. There's a pause, and then you can almost hear the gears turning. She immediately pivots. She says she didn't mean rich people like her, she meant the ultra rich, the billionaires.
Men and women, we love each other. And we hate the rich. Anyway.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my god. No wonder she's getting canceled. Oh, now you're gonna get billing. Ain't nothing wrong with buying nice shit. Take pride in that shit. Honestly, man, own up to it. And this is where it's gotta be. We're venturing into the realms of just straight up fucking delusion. Like, this is delusional to think that you can put up this facade that you are not part of some form of upper class. Like, you and how she's gonna and I can partially agree with this take, is she's gonna twist it saying that she's not upper class because the wealth disparity between upper middle to actual upper class is by a huge marginal difference. She'll try to spin it that way, but this is delusional to think that your life is not significantly better than 90% of the people that are actively watching you. Nothing wrong with it, but the fact that she hates capitalism and rich people, that is what's wrong with it. Absolutely. No wonder people are fucking shitting on her. People hate that shit. You own up to it, bro. You are living a lifestyle of luxury that most of us will never see in our lifetime, man. Almost all of us.
Too much.
Aren't you the rich?
No! Like the ultra rich, the ultra giga
See,
rich.
there's this wealth gap. Oh, they're ultra giga rich because that disparity is completely different. Nothing wrong with having money. Exactly. Hate some capitalism while streaming live on a phone from Apple. Yep, 10 out of 10.
The
You have to
unnecessarily
clarify. They're gonna clip that and it's gonna make you look.
Oh,
bad.
he facts.
You
The
gotta
ultra
say.
giga
You gotta
rich.
say the billionaires.
The billionaires.
you are rich.
The Bezos.
You can't be saying that.
I am. I'm rich in friendship.
Yes.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
What
You
makes
are
this
wealthy.
moment to land harder is the
Oh,
context
that's
from
so
just
bad.
weeks earlier. On
It's
stream,
so bad.
Pokimane had openly said that Google's estimate of her $6 million net worth was wrong and too low. She didn't
She
give
said
an
that.
exact number, but she
No.
made it clear that it was significantly higher. She also acknowledged that she earns enough to
No.
fall into the 50% tax bracket in California.
The thing is, I'm taxed 50% every single year that I've lived here, so
6 million. That's not enough.
that's incorrect.
That's low.
Is that recent?
This is 20. This is
Okay,
4
low is
days
crazy.
ago.
6 million is not.
I mean that's low for you is what I mean.
He said 6 million. That's low.
Twitch contract.
Yeah, people ain't gonna like
You think
that.
Twitch will hand me a contract?
They don't do it anymore.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's not a vague flex. That's
Yeah,
a
nah.
very specific level of income.
That
At
is.
that point, there's really nothing left to interpret. This is some
And also, I don't talking about the taxes, like to make that amount of money and to pay in those taxes, like you are benefiting from the system that protects you. You realize that our taxes go into protections for these people. Yes, you should be paying in on that system. Yes, some of the money might not be going where we need to. Maybe we can pan that shit out. But actively, you know, taxes pay for the police, the military, all these things that protect you, and that keep you free enough to live the lifestyle that you're living in a mid to high trust society. We're not high trust like Japan or South Korea or any of these other places, but we are a decent enough trust society to where we are still being protected, and that's where our tax dollars kind of go into. So hating on that system or even talking about like, oh, I gotta pay all these taxes. I don't think she was really complaining about it here, but if she does, and that's also kind of scummy, it's just like, bro, just pay in. You get a lot of protections from these things. So whatever.
someone firmly planted in the top 1 to 2% globally, someone with the freedom to fly to Paris, shop at Dior, and casually documented for millions of people. And in the middle of that, she's talking about how bad wealth disparity is, and how much we hate the rich. By January
completely brain
2026,
dead.
the capitalism rant wasn't a surprise anymore, it was a rerun. That month, Pokimane posted a video criticizing what she called capitalistic society. She talked about how people are trained from a young age to prioritize work and money over everything else.
You
Fortunately,
exactly
we
did
live
the
in
same thing.
Such a self-centered, capitalistic society. And it sucks because it trains us to prioritize work and money above all else, even friendships, even being there for other people. And then again,
Oh, this is the chick that hates Asmongold? Probably does. But it does train you. And I can't tell if she's just, this is a genuine complaint, or if this is like a virtue signal of like, this is, yeah, I don't know. But you also benefit from this. Like you benefit from this type of environment, this culture. Yeah.
and it creates this culture where people are like, oh, I don't want to bother them. They're probably busy. Oh, I've heard so many people discuss this. In order to have a village, you need to be a villager. I think that's really true. Like, if you want people to be there for you when you need it, you got to be there for them when they need it.
No, you shouldn't fucking expect that at all. You just be there for people. You just be there for people. Yes, it's good, but you shouldn't be doing these things out of expectation. That's part of this fucking culture that you're kind of breeding, is that everything's out of expectation. Maybe you should, I don't know. With me, it's just you be there for people and you just don't fucking expect them to do shit for you. You do it out of the kindness that you have, and that's really about it. Not because you're better than somebody, or it's just because this is something that you feel driven to do. Now, it teaches you to prioritize things that keep you alive. Lord knows I get all invested in friends and fams issues, but it's a good thing to be trained to make sure that you have a way of taking care of yourself, because feeling good don't feed you. That's true. Yeah. Don't do it because you feel good. Exactly. You do it because that's just something that you just want to do. And expecting anybody else to repay you for that, I don't know. It'll leave you disappointed more often than not. And yeah, I feel like there's nothing virtuous about the expectation of that. Then you weren't doing it out of true repentant heart. even though whatever, people can live however the fuck they want. That's just my personal take. I don't think it should be expected. You just be there for people, not because you expect a village, whatever.
But it's also annoying to even have to like convince someone to be there for you so you can be there for them. It's like, it's a whole myriad of things.
On its own, that message is familiar and honestly pretty mainstream online. What made it explode was everything surrounding it. Visually, the clip was almost parody level. Sitting front and center on her microphone was a designer Labubu toy. Around her were luxury items clearly visible on camera. The background looked like a high-end home, the kind of space most people will never step foot in, let alone own. The aesthetic screamed wealth while the message tried to distance itself from it. The internet did what it always does and started connecting the dots. People began compiling lists, the mansion, the design.
Ridiculous. My limit is if I push this money into the middle of a room and set it on fire, would it change my life for boob? There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I feel like we need to evaluate that within our time as well. Like, am I doing anything with this 20 minutes that it takes to check up on somebody? I'll just be watching Rust videos. Who gives a fuck? So I feel like that helps as well. But yeah, more brain dead takes.
Clothes, the Paris shopping sprees, the $28 cookies, the 5-figure shopping trips, the Starbucks and Uber Eats spending, the sponsorships, the brand deal.
Now, I will say this. I do feel like we all have unique situations. Rust videos, though, it's totally worth it. Absolutely. I do feel like we all have unique situations that nobody can relate to. And I also think about this with ultra wealthy people. Ultra wealthy people, they don't have a lot of people that can empathize with them or relate to them at all. Or people that come from nothing and then are giga wealthy have far less. Okay, so people that come from nothing and then obtain wealth have far less people that they can connect with and relate to than people that are amongst the working class. We can all relate with each other to some degree or some extent. But those that are either born, also those that are born into giga wealth, I'm talking about the top 1% of the 1%, they only have a handful of people that can even relate to the situations that they have to go through, the hardships that they have. So we all have our hardships. We all deal with this bullshit. We all deal with it in our own unique way. Pokimane deals with her bullshit in her own unique way. And to be fair, like, yes, it's probably hard for her to find people that not only she can trust, but people that have good intentions for her, or people that want to see her do well or want to give her the advice that keeps her from putting herself or putting her foot in her mouth. Because there's a few things. She's wealthy. Not only is she wealthy, but she's also attractive. So those two things right there, like, you've got to, in her position, you'd probably have to keep a lot of people at arm's length, because it's like either they want you because, people want to be around you because they're interested in the wealth and the connections that you have, or they're also interested in using you like a damn fleshlight. Like, so there are certain things.
The constant
pause it. There are certain things that she struggles with that I would never have to struggle with. So in her situation, it would make it a lot harder for her to bring people into her unique umbrella, and trust those people that are trying to help, genuinely trying to help. Because it seems like at that point, who could she really trust? It's like, one of my bosses at a previous job, he's not giga wealthy, but he's well the fuck off. But I'm thinking, like, how many conversations amongst his employees does he have where he's like, he already understands that there is a wealth disparity, so there is incentive for them to basically kind of like butter somebody up. Use that like a flashlight. I'm saving that for later. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's how the reality is, and that's how some of these women probably also think, because it is reality that they have to deal with. So I do believe that there are certain things that she deals with that we don't understand as well. But man, The internet's trying to tell her how to save her career and not listening whatsoever.
Monetization laid on top of a speech about how money shouldn't matter so much. This time, it stuck. Unlike earlier moments, people weren't reacting to a single tweet or an offhand comment. They were reacting to a pattern they already watched play out for
It's a
years.
pattern.
The January 2026 clip brought it all together in one place. The words and the visuals were in direct conflict, and there was no easy way to spin it. What really changed the tone was the response. In the past, criticism like this could be dismissed as bad faith or jealousy. This time, even neutral viewers could see it.
That's true. They could have dismissed that, but now, yeah, it is a pattern. That's the thing that they're focusing in on, is the fact that it is a pattern.
You didn't need to hate her to notice the disconnect. You just had to look at the frame. This was the moment where a lot of people stopped calling these incidents mistakes, and negative tweets reacting to this would amount tens of thousands of likes and replies agreeing with the sentiment. Why is it always rich?
My charitable take is exactly what I just stated, that she is dealing with some things that we don't understand. So for her, it is an annoyance. It is a grievance, but it comes across as brain dead, and the internet's not going to see that and try to critique it because she's done it so many times. If this is a one-off thing, then they would mark it as a one-off. They would try to understand it and move on. She's done this too many times.
People talking about this kind of stuff. People are literally struggling to buy meals and pay their rent right now, and you're over here selling cookies for $28, complaining people aren't there for you. Girl, grow up. Lives in a mansion, wears designer clothes, calls her viewers broke boys, tried selling $28 bags of cookies, addressed them by saying, if you're a broke boy, just say so, bought a $12,000 engagement ring for herself to LARP, tries interacting with a working man with limited time once.
There's a problem with society.
Have you considered you might be the problem, or did the wall hit too hard? The reason this moment mattered is because it finally crystallized what people had been feeling for a long time. This wasn't about growth or self-awareness. It was about—
Yeah, that's another thing. People aren't going to want to— the unfortunate reality is, yes, these people have unique issues that they struggle with and they deal with. Internet doesn't give a fuck about that. They don't want to hear about that. It's very true to them. It's very unique to them. There's less people that are relatable to them. There are less avenues for them to make meaningful connections that are trustworthy. Yeah, so all of these things are true, but the internet, the common man, completely overwhelmingly is a majority compared to the unique experiences that she is going through. Therefore, there's gonna be like 2 or 3 people or 4 people that can see that video and immediately understand what she means whenever she says that. But the rest of the internet's not gonna see that. They're not gonna see that. They're not gonna care about it. So yeah, I mean, she probably just should not have said anything. I mean, at that point, just you keep digging yourself a hole, especially the fact that you speak out against capitalism. That's the one thing that becomes the most brain dead out of every single one of these things, is the whole anti-capitalism bullshit. Should have never done that. There are so many other ways to address the issues that you're going through without talking shit on a system that has directly rewarded and incentivized you time and time again.
Maintaining an image that no longer matched reality, even as the gap kept getting wider. At this point, the pattern is clear enough that you can almost set your watch to it. Every controversy follows the same cycle, and once you see it laid out, it becomes impossible to unsee. It always starts the same way. Step 1 is a progressive or anti-wealth statement. Capitalism is bad, the rich are the problem, society prioritizes money too much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
These
that
talking points land perfectly.
This is the one thing. If this edition was removed, like if that comment was removed, then people would not nearly care as much. They just wouldn't. Why would they? Who cares? But the fact that we did that and we continue to implement that is damaging all the reputation.
With a young online audience that already feels squeezed and frustrated. Step 2 follows immediately. People point out the contradiction, they bring up the mansion, the designer shopping, the 7-figure earnings, and the luxury lifestyle that directly clashes with the message being preached. That's when step 3 kicks in, deflection. Critics get dismissed as haters, jealous, or bad faith. Sometimes the argument quietly shifts. Sometimes the language tightens, which leads directly directly into the most reliable fallback defense she uses every time, the not that rich argument. Over and over, Pokimane reframes the conversation as millionaires versus billionaires. The implication that wealth only becomes morally relevant once you cross into the 9 or 10.
Nah, man, that's not gonna fly with anybody, dude. And no matter what, most of the time, if somebody's making less than you are, then they're gonna see things morally different, or they're gonna think the moral relevancy of how much money. It's just know what you have and be thankful for it. Just be grateful for it. Like even if you're making 6 figures a year, people that make 20K a year are going to see that 6 figures as something that's life changing. Even though you in your position, it might just seem like another walk day in the park, that you might also be living paycheck to paycheck. So to say that your position isn't, well, whatever. It's just, if you're walking in that humility, who gives a shit? If you can just say, you know what, I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm going to do with what I have, and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. Like people like that, as opposed to like, oh, well, I'm rich, but I'm well off, but I'm not that well off. No, fuck it. Nobody cares.
Figures. Anyone below that line gets grouped in with regular people just doing
it's
fine.
not regular people. That's the thing. That's what they don't like. You can't group them into regular people because y'all are not the same. You are not the same. You can literally put all of your shit into investing and live off of your dividends and not have to do shit. People down here don't have to do that, or they don't have the luxury of doing that. They're going to have to work a 9 to 5, more than likely the rest of their life. So yeah, it shows a huge disparity.
The problem is that this framing collapses under even basic scrutiny. To the overwhelming majority of people, someone worth anywhere from $6 to $20 million is extraordinarily wealthy. The average American earns roughly $1.7 million over their entire lifetime before taxes. That means that her net worth represents 3 to 12 full lifetimes of work for a normal person. There is no meaningful way to describe that as anything other than rich. After the deflection works and attention fades away, step 4 happens quietly. She goes right back to the luxury lifestyle, designer hauls, expensive trips, brand deals, and monetized content. Nothing materially changes. And then, inevitably, step 5 arrives. The cycle repeats. Another statement, more backlash, and another reset. Other creators noticed this too, and their reactions only highlighted how divided the space is. XQC questioned the idea that being wealthy automatically makes someone bad, pushing back on the moral framing entirely.
And you somehow get richer, you're automatically bad? You know what, chat? I think this is like some brain rot. No disrespect.
It's because people think that at a certain point, to accumulate a certain amount of wealth, you've got to be extremely cutthroat. You've got to be an extremely moral or pissy, like piss poor morals. You have to have piss poor morals for you to obtain that certain level of wealth. And in their situations, they might not have had to be completely, morally cutthroat. I'm sure of it. They just have had conveniences, not tailored to them, but conveniences that they were able to take advantage of as opposed to other people. And they are currently profiting off of that. So I think what it is like, once again, they see the common person talking shit, and they will say like, oh, you had to be, morally fucking void to get 6 million. Not all the time. People, if you make a good product, if you are a good personality, people will throw money at you. You don't have to be completely cutthroat to earn that type of wealth or access that type of wealth. So she's trying to do whatever she can to like take the attention off of her, and it just makes the attention, like it just draws attention more to it. So yeah, these people don't have to be morally corrupt, but to actively shit talk the system and act like those people that are billionaires are morally corrupt, they might actually fucking be. I don't know. That's the thing. I can just say, I don't fucking know. I don't know how money works to that extent. Who cares?
Good. I'm not mad at Poki or anything.
Sneeko went in the opposite direction, calling her completely out of touch and disconnected from reality.
This is such a capitalistic society.
Oh my god, yeah, okay. That's a bad image,
this
bro.
is like 100K right here. This is like 100 bands right here. This is such a materialistic. We need to eat the rich. We need to eat the rich.
That's what's so brain dead
Meanwhile,
about it.
Hassan defended her, which critics quickly pointed out meant one multi-millionaire was defending another. The optics did not help.
I think it's because of the closeness that most streamers.
That's another reason why I don't like Hassan, dude. It's because it's the same shit talk against capitalism whenever he is also amongst the wealthy. And they will always try to say, well, this isn't really wealthy. What's wealthy is being a billionaire. And it's just like, dude, no, you're living a lifestyle that a lot of people don't live. Yes, you have different struggles. Yes, you deal with things differently. But still, quit shit talking. Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. I just
have to being normal people at a certain point in their lives, as opposed to like a guy who's been a multi-billionaire for the past decade or so. Most streamers have a.
They try to move the what is it? The goalpost. They're like, oh well, we're not part of the rich. The goal's over here. It's a multi-billion. But they get to multi-billion and then they're still gonna. They would still use some type of justification, moral
much
justification.
nicer and much better understanding of what it used to be like when they didn't have fucking money, and therefore have takes like this. You want rich people to have takes like this. It's very fucking annoying that
this is the thing though. This is the thing. You want rich people to have takes like that. That might be true. But she's saying it, claiming that she is not a rich person. It's okay to say, I am wealthy. I believe in this. And yes, I believe that I shouldn't have this much money. I think it's a crime that I have this much money. It would be okay because then it at least, it doesn't shift blame. It doesn't say that you're not part of that class. Because the thing is, like, she's stating this while also pretending and LARPing like she is a normal everyday Joe, instead of just stating that she is what she is.
Yell at rich people that have takes like this.
The unnecessarily
You have to clarify.
rich.
They're gonna clip that, and it's gonna make you look bad.
Be unnecessarily rich.
Oh,
You
the
gotta
ultra
say
giga rich.
the billionaires.
The billionaires.
Because you are rich.
The Bezos.
You can't be.
I mean, he was right, and they did clip it regardless. This is literally her being less dumb than everyone else in the room, explaining the difference between millionaires and the ultra rich who control the country even out of office is so stupid. No, you don't understand, brother. You don't understand. It's actually Pokimane that is responsible for the disparity of wealth in this country.
No, but she is actively participating and also not grifting, but she is actively taking advantage of that system. And to be able to sit here and still like try to LARP like you're not.
This is where the idea of luxury beliefs becomes important. These are progressive sounding positions that cost the speaker nothing. They signal virtue, they generate approval, they resonate emotionally with a young audience, but they never require sacrifice. There is no redistribution, no loss of comfort, no structural change. The politics live at the level of aesthetics, not material consequences. That disconnect creates something worse than simple hypocrisy. It creates parasocial betrayal. Streamers grow their audiences by—
Let me translate, you're dumb if you don't agree with exactly.
selling authenticity. They sell the feeling of closeness, relatability, and shared values. Viewers are encouraged to feel like they are supporting a friend. When the mask slips, those viewers realize the relationship was always transactional. Their money funded a lifestyle.
For example, Queso. If you look at Queso's stream setup, it looks like he's streaming from a fucking trailer. And it doesn't, like, on his socials and stuff, it doesn't look like he's taking advantage of the lifestyle. Or like Asmon. Asmon is a perfect example, actually. Asmon could have those takes and be like, fuck capitalism, even though he is also very, very wealthy. He's like a decamillionaire, or a decimillionaire, whatever the fuck they call him. You know, he could have those takes. And we see that he doesn't actively engage in that lifestyle, so it's not as hypocritical. So people would have much more toleration for that. Now, if he was going, like, he spends it on fucking fast food and sodas from a gas station. Now, if he were out fucking getting luxury yachts and saying that fuck capitalism, it would be the exact same thing. But in this case, we as the internet are much more tolerant of opinions like that. Especially if those people are really walking that lifestyle, because people are searching for integrity. I don't believe that integrity can be found in people. I don't think that it can. Now, that's also kind of my Christian values, is what it is. I feel like people find integrity in something that's a little bit higher than that, the Lord. You know, that's where we find true integrity. People are always searching. For some reason, as creatures, social creatures, we look for integrity first over almost everything, even as children. Children look for integrity. Don't know why we're wired to look for integrity. We want people's words to match up with their actions, and if they don't, then there's something that's disillusioning, that's distrustful, it just shatters everything, you know, for somebody socially. So this is where we see this disparity. This is the reason why people like Asmongold continue to, even though they hit controversies, this is the reason why he continues to grow an audience, is because there is a level of integrity with that, the authenticity that he carries. There's some things that I don't agree with, and there's some takes I've seen him kind of flop back and forth on. That's besides the point. But people like this, they cannot sit here. It shows a complete lack of integrity while trying to still live within this cushy paradigm of I am not wealthy, but I'm going to enjoy all the benefits of it.
They are now mocked for being unable to afford. This hits especially hard for her audience. Gen Z and young millennials are dealing with record housing costs, crushing student debt, and stagnant wages. Many of them supported her financially when they had far less. For that same group to be brushed off as broke boy,
well, that's on them. They shouldn't be fucking doing that. Like, if you don't have that's a skill. That's also a skill that has to be built. If you don't have the money to support people, don't fucking support people. Like Bill said, have the mentality of, if I shove this fucking money into the middle of the room, light this bitch on fire, does it change my life at all? No, then who cares? If it's within a budget, you can. Don't be doing this stupid shit. This is reckless. This is fucking insanity. Care about your future, because these people, Pokimane, Asmon, fucking Hassan, all of these people don't give a shit if you retire and die on the Walmart floor. They don't fucking care. None of them care. I don't even care, because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking know you. I don't care. But at a certain point, think about yourself a little bit. Holy shit.
By someone they helped elevate is a specific kind of insult. In the end, it mirrors
is
the
an
classic
insult,
champagne
but also don't
socialist
fucking support them
archetype,
if you don't
progressive
have it.
rhetoric paired with elite living, sympathy without solidarity.
I know you, Roush. Okay, I don't want you done and retiring on the. I'm talking about for the YouTube audience that don't know me. I don't know them either, but Roush, I do care about you. The person you see on the screen is the person in your head. I mean, after years of knowing people, you knowing a group of people, yeah, I get to know them, but don't just hand out cash like a mofo. True. But that's also my thing, is if it's in your budget, that's different. What you do, Splendid Daddy Bill, is different. These guys are purchasing fucking subs on just maxing out credit cards and shit.
And
high
a
interest
growing
loan
distance
debts.
from the very people the message claims to stand
high interest
for.
debt
Before
loans.
wrapping this up, it's worth being very clear that this is not a moral judgment about wealth itself. No one is saying Pokimane is evil for being rich.
No,
or
I
that
don't
she
think
should
that's the
apologize
case.
for succeeding. She built a massive.
I don't think that's the case either. I just think it's fucking stupid that you would try to morally posture yourself. And it also shows it does show a certain level of insecurity. There is a certain level of insecurity that comes in because you feel like you have to morally posture yourself, and you fucking don't. You know what? If you are a nihilist, then you can say silence outlives the earth. You can say silence outlives the earth. These people aren't going to fucking remember. Who cares? And I am allowed to live this life. I'm not going to be morally captured or held hostage morally by people that don't care about me. You know, there are my friends that are close. I'd be like, yo, man, you're getting a little bit wild with some of them takes, and I'm going to take that and really roll with it. But people, strangers on the internet, they don't know me.
Career, played the game
Yeah,
well and
morally
made a lot of
posture
money
yourself.
doing it. That part is undeniable, and it's not the issue. The issue is the disconnect, the repeated gap between what she says publicly and how she lives privately. A gap that hasn't appeared once or twice, but consistently over the past 5 years. When something happens that contradicts the image, it gets brushed off, reframed, or forgotten, only for the cycle to start again. Zooming out, this isn't really just about her anymore. She's simply the most most visible example of a much larger problem baked into influencer culture itself. The influencer economy rewards relatability above all else. The closer a creator
that was a
feels
young
to their
Hassan on
audience,
screen. That's
the more
crazy.
powerful
He
their
looks
brand
completely different.
becomes. The problem is that success in that system almost guarantees eventual distance. You can't remain financially elite while staying socially grounded in the same way. At some
Fucking Jimmy does this too. He talks about like, people really have more money in their bank accounts than I actually do. You know, I am actually just really broke. But the thing is he lives off of these dividends. Like he lives off of interest, and he leverages his debt, or he leverages debt as his own like flow of money. So yeah, people don't like that with him either. But the difference between Jimmy and somebody like Pokimane is that Jimmy will do this shit on random fucking podcasts or something, and they die out. They kind of fizzle out quickly. Pokimane's streaming a lot. She streams a lot. So there's much more opportunities for her to voice a dumbass opinion as opposed to somebody like Jimmy that just kind of gets caught on a random fucking podcast or an interview saying something stupid. Jimmy knows when to shut the hell up. Also, yeah, Jimmy is a pro at that, man. Whenever he was going through all the controversy, was it last year or the year before? Yeah, it was maybe a couple years ago now. I don't fucking know. Time is a weird circle. He was going through a certain amount of controversy, and he completely he knew how to play the internet, and he fucking stepped off. He stepped back, didn't say shit, disappeared, and he let that shit die down as far as it could go, and then he addressed it. And then by that time, everybody just kind of fucking moved on from it. Everybody's just like, big T, I don't really give a shit. And they didn't cancel him. He's still giga whatever. He's still giga rich. But yeah, Jimmy does know when the hell to he knows how to play the game. He got don't hate the game. Don't hate the players, hate the game, brother. He knows how.
The lifestyle changes faster than the persona does. Influencers are encouraged to keep selling authenticity long after it stops being true. The audience still gets the language of struggle, fairness, and
I don't even think that. I think people are still encouraged to sell authenticity. They just don't understand what that looks like, or they are morally co-opted into shifting that moral authenticity to what they were before. Whenever it does change, people change. And who cares if you might lose a handful of subs because you changed? What's important is that if people appreciate the authenticity, that you keep the authenticity, even if it means that you are authentically something completely different now, instead of shitting on the system that got you there in the first place.
Shared frustration, while the reality behind the camera looks nothing like that experience anymore. Over time, that mismatch turns into resentment, confusion, and eventually backlash. That's why each new controversy hits harder than the last. People are not reacting to isolated comments, they're reacting to a pattern they've watched repeat itself for years. Each new anti-wealth rant lands a little flatter, because viewers already know what comes next.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
And that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning, is like she's diminishing some of her reputation, just chipping away at it slowly. And it's just been that, all that chipping away, like now things are really kind of being revealed, and she's starting to really see the ramifications of that down the road.
Continues, the messaging resets. At this point, Pokimane occupies a strange and uncomfortable role. She is the rich person criticizing the rich, the capitalist benefiting from the system while condemning it, the relatable streamer whose life has become completely out of reach for the people who built her platform. Until that cycle breaks in a meaningful way, every new statement about inequality, capitalism, or wealth will feel less like reflection and more like branding. And for an
that's pretty crazy, man.
That